Have you ever felt the spectral fingers of grief wrapping around your heart, pulling you under like the relentless tide claiming lost souls, much like the doomed sailors in Coleridge's rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, where curses of the past haunt the living amid unforgiving seas? In episode 7 of This Monster Wants to Eat Me, released on November 13, 2025, we wade into the murky depths of survivors' guilt and deceptive affections, situated in the series' unfolding arc where Hinako's fragile existence tangles with the predatory yearnings of her monstrous companions, echoing the historical laments of shipwrecked survivors clinging to debris in storm-ravaged oceans. Imagine the cold spray of rain stinging your face, the faint, briny whisper of waves carrying echoes of unspoken losses, immersing you in a shoreline veiled by melancholy. This chapter, bridging the raw confrontations of earlier episodes to a simmering love triangle laced with spectral threats, personally ensnared me with its poignant fusion of tenderness and treachery, hinting at bonds forged in tragedy. But what shadowy rescuers lurk in the fog of memory, and why do they taste of both solace and sinister intent? The mystery surges like an undertow, drawing you inexorably. What hidden roles do affections play in our drownings, compelling not just sight, but a plunge into their chilling embrace? Episode 7 escorts Hinako into a basketball training camp at Miko's behest, extending the prior episode's uneasy truces where predatory tensions simmered beneath surface alliances, now stirring ghosts from the sea that evoke Hinako's familial tragedy, reminiscent of the ethereal apparitions in The Turn of the Screw, where spectral presences unravel the living in isolated estates. You can almost hear the distant rumble of thunder as ethereal hands emerge from waters, scars are bared in vulnerable revelations, and a new maternal figure enters the fray, much like the intrusive guardians in fairy tales where helpers mask darker designs. Key currents involve emotional confessions, physical exposures, and introductions that ripple the group dynamic, transitioning forward with a cliffhanger dangling like a half-sunken buoy. What ethereal entities beckon from the depths, and why does their call carry the salty sting of unresolved sorrow? The flow intensifies purposefully, suspending enigmas that beckon immersion, or forever leave you adrift in the swells of curiosity. Episode 7 deftly propels the narrative by shifting from external yokai threats to Hinako's internal hauntings, deepening the central predator-prey romance while introducing a love triangle that escalates emotional stakes, echoing the intricate emotional webs in Wuthering Heights, where past traumas entwine present desires. The pacing harmonizes introspective lulls with spectral surges, achieving dramatic equilibrium through rain-soaked melancholy building to tender confrontations, culminating in a cliffhanger that teases fractured alliances. Key revelations expose Hinako's survivor's guilt tied to her family's maritime demise, with a twist hinting at Shiori's enigmatic involvement since that day, reframing her hunger as potential atonement. Fans often query cloudy aspects like the ethereal hand's nature, human ghosts, yokai, or metaphors, and Ayam's ambiguous aura, human helper or disguised threat, alongside Shiori's cryptic history with the accident. Referencing the manga's chapters 13 to 15, as per adaptation-paced discussions on Reddit and MyAnimeList, where episodes typically cover 2 to 3 chapters, aligning episode 7 with volume 3's climax. These clarify: the hands, detailed in chapter 13, the beast in the rain, represent regrets of the drowned, neither fully human nor yokai, but psychic manifestations amplified by Hinako's trauma, symbolizing unresolvable grief rather than literal spirits. Chapter 14, A Kind Person, introduces Ayam as a human-turned yokai, an Ubium variant born from eternal loss. Her mommy energy, a deceptive lure for vulnerable souls like Hinako, explaining her unsettling smile and scent fade as a masking technique. Chapter 15 elaborates Shiori's that day as her failed rescue attempt during the accident, where she saved Hinako but couldn't the family, fueling her infatuation and guilt-driven desire to heal through consumption. This manga foundation illuminates the anime's intentional vagueness as thematic layering, mirroring historical ghost lore like Japanese funerei where ambiguities heighten dread, enriching the adaptation by inviting viewers to ponder unresolved echoes. Hinako's emotional layers unfurl with heartbreaking depth, her hidden wounds, scaly scars from the accident symbolizing Piscean transformation, revealing motivations rooted in self-loathing and suicidal ideation, a growth from passive victim to tentative seeker of connection, consistent yet surprising in its raw exposure, akin to Ophelia's descent in Hamlet where grief drowns identity. Shiori sheds her aloof facade for vulnerable tenderness, her choices transformative in confessing infatuation amid rejection, driven by atonement for past failures. Miko's jealousy simmers protectively, her dialogues shifting from playful to possessive. Ayam's maternal warmth veils predatory intent, her introduction surprising in its deceptive normalcy. Were these evolutions consistent, profoundly, yet laced with revelations that humanize the monstrous. Envision bearing your own scars under Shiori's gaze. What concealed guilts might compel your embrace? Power's seductive veil, morality's murk and devotion, and sacrifice versus despair manifest vividly, as in Shiori's struggles where hunger blurs with healing. Does consumption redeem or erase? Survival probes identity. Can scars redefine us, or do they anchor us to despair? These pulse through spectral encounters, evoking Camus' absurd in the myth of Sisyphus, where confronting voids fosters rebellion against fate, leaving you to reflect. In your own hauntings, what deceptive kindnesses promise release yet threaten to devour? New lore on drowned regrets and yokai transformations like Iams enriches the universe, complicating rules by linking powers to emotional residues and disguises, adding layers of aquatic horror akin to Lovecraft's deep-sea entities. How might these spectral boundaries submerge future bonds? The script wields poetic precision, lines like confessions of selfish affection carrying foreshadowing that echoes, reminiscent of Austen's subtle barbs in Pride and Prejudice, where words veil deeper longings. Impactful sans cliché, they blend vulnerability and menace. Shiori's rebuttals whisper like sirens' songs in myth, resonating long after. Did they haunt you? Immensely, crafting suspense that queries. What unspoken guilts lurk in the pauses, pulling you into the narrative's tide? Animation mesmerizes with ethereal fluidity in ghostly sequences, art direction contrasting stormy grays with warm amber hugs, symbolism in scaly scars, iridescent sheen evoking hybrid beauty. Not mere aesthetics, but a texture where allure signifies fractured wholeness, like the opalescent horrors in Geiger's designs. Stillness in rain-drenched pauses contrasts swirling apparitions, heightening isolation. Direction utilizes intimate close-ups and fluid pans, edits ebbing like receding waves in your name's emotional swells, to amplify yearning and dread. The soundtrack emerges as an oceanic specter, motifs crescendoing with haunting strings during revelations, imprinting memory akin to Shore's ethereal scores in The Lord of the Rings. Silence amid hugs amplifies louder, underscoring raw intimacy. Voice acting captivates. Shiori's Siyu infuses a silken tremor with underlying intensity, embodying a soul adrift in guilt, as if her timbre washes over your own regrets. This episode drowned me in waves of poignant ache, sparking wonder at grief's transformative grip, much like the collective sorrow in Titanic survivors' tales, where lost births unbreakable resolve amid icy voids. Pivotal moments crash as destinies entwine in vulnerable grace, a shattering nexus redefining hunger and healing, evoking tear-streaked awe. What eternal queries linger? Can we embrace scars without being consumed, or does hope demand diving into despair's depths? Picture the rain soaking your skin, ghosts whispering your name. Does it chill or cleanse? The philosophical currents stir, curiosity swelling like a storm, urging you to navigate the shadows within. Reverse reading acknowledges the episode's introspective pacing might lag, yet reframes it as deliberate submersion into melancholy, akin to Spirited Away's contemplative journeys fostering empathy. Complexity in yokai deceptions could confound, but serves thematic opacity, mirroring grief's ambiguities. Balanced critique. While Survivor's guilt feels somewhat hackneyed, the emotional layering and sinister undertones elevate it, minor contrivances in dialogue enhancing the deceptive allure. Episode 7 excels in atmospheric depth and thematic resonance, its strengths in vulnerable characterizations and spectral visuals surpassing occasional trope reliance. It succeeds luminously in This Monster Wants to Eat Me's artistic and narrative ambitions. I anticipate its undercurrents reshaping devotions. But what if the ghosts calling from your own seas beckon, murmuring of affections uneaten? Sense the chill tide rising at your feet, the distant wail of bonds unbroken. Watching isn't optional. It's the inevitable immersion into the hungers that await your surrender. Dive and let the depths claim you.